優しくなれる立ち上がるそして君は強さを知る振り向かず走ってゆくのさ過去も未来も今につながってる恐れることなんてないさ何度でも言うよ君は一人じゃない胸に秘めた熱い想いは無限の未来へと駆けてゆく動き始めた夢は限界さえ越えて導くだろうまばゆい光の差す場所へ鼓動は高鳴ってるのにノイズに消され聞けなかった声夜明けを待つその心に感じたなら前足跡残しながらその瞳の先で未来は少しずつ形を変えてゆく扉が開いてるんだもうすぐ夜が明けるこの想いを激しく空へ響け胸に秘めた熱い想いは無限の未来へと駆けてゆく色あせない明日へ心は加速する抑えられず叫んでいた昨日まで不自由を果てしない自由へ羽ばたくのさまばゆい光の待つ場所へ
Alright, you saw the deck in action. Let's go over how the deck works and what sort of things you were noticing. So pretty much in this deck, you're using pretty much this FA unit, Hang On Mock. Pretty much what he does is he becomes a macrocosmos once he hits level 7. It's pretty easy to get to level 7 because his field spells push him on levels during battle phase and main phase, and this is one of the more important field spells to have out when you have Mock in hand. But if you don't start off with Mock in your hand, you just focus more on your MetalFoe combos. Like this one's pretty good because you kill this pretty much, so you can search out a skill you're missing, like another 8 or a 1, or you're trying to do more combos. Just know you'll never be able to pendulum summon this since it is a 1, so you pretty much use it for your fusion, your MetalFoe fusion spell card. That way you just put it in the grave, and you can do some combos from there, really. These are very important, especially this is going for turn 1 setup, so you can special summon a lot of level 7 MetalFoe monsters, so you can overlay into Odd Eyes easier. This is mostly your go-to unit most times when you overlay, because that goes into Vortex very, very nicely, and Vortex gets his negation effect, so that's pretty nice as well. And that's what you need to use to kind of bypass some of your opponent's effect monsters, like Time Lords if they play a Time Lord effect, but keep in mind you'll negate the effect, but you won't destroy the Time Lord. So just keep that in mind when playing, really. Honestly. So some of these FA cards have like unique effects as well. I guess it just depends where you're at in the match, but usually every time you're in a match, you're obviously going to be on Grand Prix because this makes your FA unit non-targetable, which is good. You don't want this card to get targeted by card effects, which means they can't target for like a tiny destruction. They have the torrential tribute, or have cards that say destroy, which comes to terms of FA Test Run. FA Test Run is really good since this does pop a card and you can special summon an FA monster, so you can pretty much use this to pop a card that can't be targeted since you turn this into defense mode or attack position. This card actually pops anything on the field. It's not a target, so you can destroy the cards that said, oh, this card cannot be targeted. Well, this card isn't a target. We can destroy any card we want, which makes it really good. Usually some games I go into Orichalc first, but other games you go into Mytherium just to return some cards back to the opponent's hand if you want to return. Usually when you do that is when you're trying to go for game, or you're just prepping your deck back to normal by putting MetalFoe Fusion back in, and or the counter or MetalFoe's counter back into your deck if you didn't waste it. Usually that's how you usually can go about most of your plays when it comes to Mytherium. That's what keeps them consistent MetalFoes, where they keep cards and keep pushing and doing things. This card's good for fixing your hand, especially at the start of the game, and since you can pop it with a MetalFoe to call 2 more, that helps you with your rank 3 overlay. Grand Pulse is really good, of course, for this kind of event, just in case you need to pop back row. Force your opponent to activate their back row or something like that so you can get by it. Very decent 3 for that. Dark Arm Dragon, also another great unit. Doesn't need dark monsters to do anything. You can just detach a material and destroy cards, but it just can't attack for the rest of this turn. So pretty much you try to just set up a way to go around your opponent with other monsters to attack with. Pretty simple stuff. But definitely playing this deck, there's like more like consistent. I haven't really had a problem with this deck so far. Like honestly, it's very, very consistent actually for just having a couple runs with it. I got like 10,000 medals like instantly, so I already got all the gems just by playing this deck. And people like to surrender when they see it. So again, that's what I call fast-paced medal grinding. Really, really nice. But yeah, something like this can definitely get you if you guys just want to go through the event with a breeze without really worrying. This is really good just to even grind 500 pretty easily because it's very consistent. It's like one of the most consistent things I've actually played, which is shocking because this was the first deck I made, and then I'm like, oh, it worked out great. So yeah, just keep that in mind when playing this deck. Usually, you just keep popping your MetalFoes. Turn one, pretty much is setting up 2 of these, and then turn 2, you start going into like the fusion and all that. So you get ready from there, and that's going to be your beneficiary for doing plays. Usually you can go into this guy. Depends how big your field is or how much your opponent is letting you keep cards. It's just very dependent, really. And you got gravity controller just in case you need a monster for defense. So you don't take full damage. You'll just take little bits of damage. So this card's pretty decent for its worth. But yeah, usually you try to go into this trap card because you can activate. This card isn't really limited to once per turn. So you can special summon pretty much 2 monsters with MetalFoe counter. And that gives you 2 level 7, so legit overlay into Dark Arm Dragon. And or Odd Eyes Absolute, which just lets you get into Vortex easy. That's what I actually did appreciate about the effect and the overlays of MetalFoes, because they actually go into these awesome rare units and can summon these fusions and sync and all that. It's really nice. Really, it's really crazy. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this deck guide does help you throughout the event. If you're really just trying to win those 500 medals, this deck is definitely a high recommendation from me to you because it's very, very consistent. And you can watch more matches at the live stream as well on how fast I grinded out those medals with ease. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.